There's a moment in every person's life when they feel the weight of financial struggle pressing down, heavy and relentless. Maybe it's after glancing at a dwindling bank account or hearing the familiar anxious refrain, "I'm broke." Complaints about money are everywhere, echoing through conversations, social media feeds, and late-night worries. But what if, instead of repeating those complaints 100 times, you decided to cultivate just one money-making skill? What if you put your energy into learning, practicing, and mastering something that could change your financial story? Imagine waking up in a small apartment, the sunlight filtering through faded curtains. You hear your neighbors talking in the hallway, voices tinged with worry about rent and bills. At work, colleagues gather around the break room table, swapping stories about rising prices and shrinking paychecks. Online, friends post memes about living paycheck to paycheck, about counting coins at the end of the month. The complaints form a chorus, familiar and exhausting, but hidden beneath all those words is a truth. Complaining doesn't pay the bills, action does. Think about the power of just one skill. Not a degree, not a lottery ticket, but a skill you can use over and over to earn, grow, and transform your financial reality. Maybe it's graphic design, digital marketing, coding, copywriting, public speaking, video editing, social media management, photography, or even baking. The skill itself isn't magic. It's your willingness to learn, practice, and apply it that matters. Let's take a closer look. Picture someone who's always struggled with money, always felt like opportunities were just out of reach. They spend evenings venting to friends, scrolling through job listings, feeling stuck and hopeless. But one day, they decide to try something different. They pick up free resources online, watch tutorials, download a beginner's guide. They choose graphic design, a skill they'd never imagined mastering. The first attempts are clumsy, the results far from perfect. But they persist, dedicating a little time each day, repeating the process, learning from mistakes. A month passes. They create a simple logo for a local cafe. The cafe owner loves it, pays them a modest fee, then recommends them to another business. The designer's confidence grows. They sign up for online freelance platforms, build a small portfolio, and gradually attract more clients. The money isn't huge at first, but it's steady, and it's theirs. The complaints fade, replaced by moments of pride and possibility. Each new project is a small victory, a step away from the old story of being broke. Skills are like seeds. At first, they seem small and fragile, easy to overlook. But with attention and care, they grow, rooting themselves in your life, branching out into new opportunities, flowering into income streams you never thought possible. Learning a skill isn't just about money. It's about empowerment, about rewriting your narrative from helplessness to hope. It's about proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you ever realized. Consider how many hours people spend complaining about money each year. Maybe it's a few minutes every day or long conversations every weekend. Add it up and you'll find dozens, sometimes hundreds, of hours lost to frustration. What if even a fraction of that time were spent learning instead? Imagine dedicating 30 minutes a day to practicing a new skill. In a month, that's 15 hours. In a year, that's over 180 hours, a foundation strong enough to build a side hustle, a freelance career, or even a full-time business. And it's not just about technical skills. Money-making abilities can include negotiation, networking, salesmanship, teaching, writing, or even problem-solving. These are skills anyone can develop, regardless of background or education. The key is to start where you are, with what you have, and commit to growth. Let's meet another person, someone who's always felt out of place in traditional jobs. They jump from one position to another, never quite able to make ends meet. The complaints pile up, resentment grows. But they notice that people in their community often struggle to organize their homes and offices. They have a knack for tidying, for creating order out of chaos. They decide to offer their services as a professional organizer, starting small, helping friends, then friends of friends. Word spreads, and soon they're earning enough to cover their bills, sometimes more. The complaints fade, replaced by gratitude and purpose. The journey isn't easy. There are setbacks, doubts, and days when progress feels slow. But those moments are part of the process. Every skill, no matter how simple, requires patience and persistence. The world is full of stories of people who turned a single talent into a life-changing opportunity. The photographer who started with a borrowed camera and now travels the world. The coder who learned to program in their spare time and built a successful app. The writer who began with blog posts and now publishes best-selling books. Complaining is familiar. It's easy, comforting in its own way. But it doesn't change anything. Action, however small, creates ripples. When you choose to learn a money-making skill, you invest in yourself. You declare, even quietly, that you're willing to fight for a different future. You shift from being a passive observer to an active participant in your own life. Think about the people you admire, those who seem to have carved out their own paths, who live with a sense of security and purpose. Most of them weren't born with extraordinary talent or luck. They found something they could learn, practiced it relentlessly, and refused to give up when things got tough. Their stories are proof that a single skill, honed and applied, can break the cycle of complaints and create real change. Imagine your life a year from now. What could be different if you chose to learn one skill instead of repeating the same complaints? Maybe you're freelancing, earning extra income on the side. Maybe you've started a small business or found a job that values what you can do. Maybe you've built connections and confidence, discovered passions you never knew you had. The possibilities are endless, but they start with a decision. And you don't have to do it alone. There are communities, resources, mentors, and friends who can support your journey. Online courses, workshops, books, podcasts, and forums are filled with people who've walked the same path, faced the same doubts, and succeeded. Reach out, ask questions, share your progress. You'll find encouragement and inspiration in places you never expected. If you're worried about failing, remember, every skill is learned, not inherited. Mistakes are part of growth, not signs of defeat. The first time you design a logo, write a blog post, bake a cake for sale, or tutor a student, it may not be perfect, but it's a start, and every start matters. Celebrate small wins, learn from setbacks, and keep moving forward. The complaints will fade, replaced by the satisfaction of progress. And don't underestimate the ripple effect. When you learn and apply a money-making skill, you set an example for others. Friends, family, colleagues, and even strangers will see your effort and be inspired to try themselves. The cycle of complaints can be broken, one person at a time, until entire communities shift from despair to determination. Picture a world where, instead of complaining about money, people share stories about growth and opportunity. A world where conversations revolve around learning, innovation, and resilience. Imagine the energy, the optimism, the sense of possibility. That world starts with you, with a single decision to choose action over complaint. Of course, not every skill will lead to instant wealth. The journey may be slow and the rewards modest at first, but the alternative, years of complaints, frustration, and stagnation, is far less satisfying. When you look back, you'll see that the time spent learning was an investment, a gift to your future self. You'll have proof that you're capable, resourceful, and resilient. So, what skill will you choose? What do you enjoy? What are you curious about? What problems do you see around you that you could help solve? Start small. Watch a tutorial, read a guide, join a workshop, ask for advice. Practice a little each day. Track your progress. Celebrate every milestone. Build a portfolio, offer your services, take on small projects, and grow from there. Your story doesn't have to be one of endless complaints about being broke. You have the power to change it, to write a new chapter filled with learning, action, and possibility. The first step is simple. Choose one money-making skill and commit to mastering it. The journey will be challenging, but the rewards, financial, emotional, and personal, are worth every effort. In the end, the difference between 100 complaints and a single skill is the difference between wishing for change and creating it. It's the difference between dreaming and doing. Your future is shaped by the choices you make today. Choose growth, choose action, choose to learn the skill that will change your life. The power is in your hands. One skill, one step, one story at a time. If these stories and life skills lessons bring you value, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss new content every week. Let's build a positive community together, where we all learn to live better, communicate with confidence, and stay strong through life's challenges.